Welcome to Wine and the Divine, where faith, wine, and life come together. Meet Mick Wilson, winery owner, certified sommelier, and pastor at Wilson Creek Winery in Temecula Valley. With a foot in both the vineyard and the pulpit, Mick brings a unique perspective to conversations about winemaking, scripture, and spirituality, uncovering how these worlds connect in ways that are both surprising and deeply meaningful. Now, here's Mick.
Hello, this is Mick on Wine of the Divine. I'm here with my first guest ever, my bro, Bill Wilson, CEO of Wilson Creek Winery. He's my older brother, known him all my life, and I'm glad to have him here because he would be able to set the tone of our winery and what makes it work and what makes it thrive. And before we start, Bill, I need to ask you, what are we drinking?
It's one of the wines that I think we make very well, and the Valley in itself makes very well, and that is our award-winning Petite Sirah.
Yeah,
that
baby.
is a big, bold, badass red that I will stand up to pretty much any wine.
Anything but Petite. I've got here, I got going on. I had to bring this up because we're going to go in a little history here. This is our legacy going back 06. We named this after my parents to honor them, Rosie and Jerry Wilson, who are on the label. And we had to change the name because that was used, but it was a pretty cool bottle. And I got a little cork in here, but still tasting pretty good, actually. I'm surprised. So
really, 20 years later?
Yep.
20 years later?
20 years. It's a little going down that bell curve, but
yeah.
Oh yeah.
As you would expect a 20-year.
So for those that aren't familiar with Wilson Creek, we're going into our 25th anniversary. Get us caught up a little bit on the dream of the winery. Like, how did this whole thing begin?
The whole thing began with failure, actually. I failed in the financial arena, and because I just didn't like it. It didn't suit my personality. It was a dog eat dog. It was a, what did you close today? Where's your next client coming from? And I looked left, I went right, I looked up, I went down, I did it all. And I just didn't like any of it. So after doing a whole mergers and acquisition firm, I raised the money and my financial analyst spent it. I knew I needed to do something different. So I asked my best friend what I should do for a living. And he said, I know exactly what you're going to do. There's a winery out in Temecula. It's run by a 75-year-old single guy, no kids, wants out, willing to carry paper. And I said, holy heck, for the last 2 years of my life, I've been looking for a 75-year-old single guy, no kids, wants out, willing to carry paper. And he's like, I think your family would be really good at it. I have some restaurant experience. I've got some capital. What do you think? And I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy.
Right.
But I knew that our family would be really good at it. And it stems from, back in our high school age that we kind of ruled the high school. And we were the social, if anybody knows this, is listening to this from South Pasadena, no, we were the social hub of South Pasadena. We threw the best parties around. Mm-hmm. Nobody could touch us. Our parents would go to jail today because they allowed minors to have alcohol, but they thought it was in a controlled substance. We were going to have alcohol anyway. It was
and they were at every party too, which was interesting.
I think they had more fun at our parties than we did. And we took that serious. We had a pinky promise that says we would not throw parties without them being there. Mm-hmm. And it was an absolute mutual respect because we did throw a party, and one of our friends became an absolute idiot and almost killed himself by drinking, chugging.
Blew that.
A quarter to cut that out. I don't care. But, again, it gets to the relationship of the bond of our family and our cohesiveness of being together. And that's really what it was all about. Our folks were going to go move up to Solvang area, and that meant, we were going to lose a really good friend, dear friend, and our parents. And Yeah, I said, hey, instead of doing that, what if we sold the home and put it on a down payment on an SBA loan and a little Temecula and da 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 da. And they said, you're crazy, but you know what? It's your inheritance. I'm kind of paraphrasing everything. What does the rest of the family think? And I said, well, let me ask. So I called you and said, okay, if this flies mustard with Mick, it's going to work because, it's wine, it's alcohol, it's the whole thing. And your comment back to me after I laid out the whole program was Jesus' first miracle. And I'm like,
Yep.
yes, I got through the religious. I mean, that was a big step. And then we both agreed that Libby would be a pushover, and we'll just go contact her. And she actually was the deal killer and saying, why Temecula? Why not Paso? Why not this? Why not that? Why not Napa? And da 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 da. And we're like, well, we don't want to be country bumpkins. We're the 14th winery down in Temecula. We've got this great opportunity. We can't afford those other places. So that was why we chose Temecula. My wife did not want to be a country bumpkin. Temecula was the icing on the cake. It was Temecula in and of itself as a city is absolutely spectacular. So the cake was the winery, the icing was the beautiful people at Temecula, and there's been a love relationship with Wilson Creek and the Temecula Valley for now 26, if not 30 years, and we bought it.
So when we started the winery, I remember some other wineries called us the first winery of the second wave, meaning hospitality. What do you think? Yeah. What do you think fit with our background in South Pasadena of hospitality and the timing at the winery and Temecula Valley at the time? How do you think it clicked? And maybe also share your initial business plan and what happened to that.
Well, there was two things that really made it click and to realize that hospitality was what's really matters out here. All the other wineries, they had their little niches that they did and whatnot. But in doing the research, there's three components to running or operating a winery. You got to grow the grapes, which is biology, full-time job, full-time education. Then you got to make it into wine once the grapes are matured, which is a full-time chemistry, not biology. And then once it's in the bottle, now you got to sell it, which is completely different from any of the two. So the research says, if you do 2 out of the 3, you're going to screw up one of the 2, if not all 3. Stay in your lane, bro. Stay in your lane.
Great.
And, choose one and then hire the others. And, my dream when I was in college of going out and being a farmer in Iowa, of the farms that we owned back then through the family and taking it over from the corporate side, was something I kind of passionately cared about, but it's not where I wanted to live. So anyway, make a long story short, when it was like, oh, farming, okay, that's good. And then chemistry, okay. And then hospitality, okay, I think we could each be one of those, or, collectively do that. But it was really when we were starting to make our wine, at another winery, and a tour guide came up and asked the winemaker if he would please address the tour group. And he's like, no, I hate that. I just want to make wine. I don't want to do all that stuff. And they want me to do it. I don't want to do it. And I went, aha, I'm going to do something that no other winery does. We're going to be the most hospitable winery in the valley, if not in the world. And we are going to be there for our guests. They're going to see a Wilson. I can have somebody else do all the stuff behind the scenes. We want to be in front of the scenes. So we threw out Rosie and Jerry in front and center. They were the bartenders. And then on the weekends, we all bartended. And during the week, we did all the work, and they continued to be the bartenders. So that was really the impetus of what we were going to be. We were going to be the hospitality company. And today, 26 years later, I'm proud to say we are known for our hospitality, and beatings will continue until hospitality improves. I will beat them, smile, wham, So it's something we preach, something we live, and there's a Wilson here almost every day, all day, in various shapes or forms, especially now that the next generation of Wilsons are coming up, and Christopher and Rosie and Jerry. Jerry unfortunately is not with us, but Rosie still is, and she still comes down here and gets treated like a queen at 95 and 3/4.
The
So,
matriarch. Yep.
and that's why we did it. We did it to be together as a family. And good news, you work with your family. Bad news, you work with your family. You still got to show up at Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Right. What would you say that in those initial years, I mean, there were some challenges, of course. I go up to Napa and some of these other areas, love these wineries, but you hear the stories of someone who's retired with millions. They don't know what to do with it, so they just dump it in and do a winery and for a hobby. Ours was a little different, but what would you tell people who weren't there in the initial years, what that was like? And it pretty intense.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. And if it was easy, everybody'd do it. And we were a one percenter on the opposite end of the spectrum of one percenters of owning wineries that had no money. We had zero money. We took the home equity, put it in a down payment, and we sold everything we had. We got screwed by the IRS. We got hit double time with the IRS because it didn't get open in time, and so we had the bucket of money that we thought we had, which was limited to begin with, got stripped away. So we really had nothing. We had to borrow from family and friends, and when you borrow from family and friends,
That was hard. Mm-hmm.
it's a whole nother level, and that was really actually a motivator. The failure was not an option. We succeeded because we all knew this was Operation Bootstraps. We had peanut butter sandwiches for lunch, and for dinner we had the luxury of putting jelly on them.
And that's not a joke. That's literal.
It's not.
Yeah.
People laugh and go, "Ha ha!" No, we didn't have much. I mean, we had nothing. And Rosie can make something from nothing, and she was a magician. And if you invited me over to your house, I ate you out of house and home. I ate like crazy. So, and we'd all eat before we go to McDonald's, and because we wouldn't deprive our kids of a happy meal that they split, but we got to work in we got to let them play in the jungle gym that was air conditioned because we didn't even have air conditioning out here.
And I remember at that day, we were maxing out credit cards because we had to buy equipment for when we opened, had to get the barrels and the tanks, and everyone was just maxed out. And wasn't there a morning where your car was impounded?
Yeah, that was a thrill. I look up and there goes my Suburban from my house driving down our road, and I'm like, who's in the Suburban? And looking, everybody's here. I'm like, oh, I just got repossessed. Great. Mm-hmm. So I had to borrow more money from brother-in-law and bail it out. But yet, we just had this resolve. We just knew that we just had to get open. Once we got open, we knew things would be okay. And when we got open, things not only got okay, they got great. It actually was a problem. We had too many people. And we've been known as the, busy winery, and we're too busy. You don't want to go there. And, from the inception, and we kept growing and growing and making more and accommodating more and building more to accommodate more. And, we're busy because, for a reason. This is a freaking cool ass property. You come in here and you sit around and you go, wow, I have no idea I'm in Southern California. I have no idea that, a mall is literally 3 miles away. I have no idea I can go watch state-of-the-art movies in reclining seats, 5 minutes away. It's wonderful. So
how would you do? People always talk about the vibe at the winery. where people aren't just coming because we got a great courtyard, good wines, concerts, food, etc. That's all bonus. But I hear thousands of times, literally, there is some unspoken dynamic of vibe. I call it, for some people, like a pocket of sanity, where people come and they just feel welcome and loved on and accepted no matter who they are. I mean, how would you put into words the vibe?
The vibe is we enhance lives. That's our purpose statement. That's kind of a Rosie and Jerry, when they met you, our parents, they wanted to enhance your life with a little tidbit, a little positivity, a little something. So when you walk in here, your shoulders just drop. We are, as you said, an island of sanity amongst an ocean of frenzy. And when you're here, you just feel different, and everybody has that and shares that. From every single guest service that we have, they're out there trying to put a smile on people's face, and it's a purpose. It's by design, which is, I don't want anybody else to listen to this and copy our by design, but we're hospitality. I kind of say quality wine, quality time, not necessarily in that order, in that, quality time is as important as the quality wine. You got to have both.
I remember we had a tri-union, a 3-union recently. Your class, which was 80, my class, 1981, Libby, younger sister, 1982. And people who came to the winery, it was interesting to hear the comments. They're saying what we did at South Pasadena, in not just the parties, but welcoming people, always a chair at the table, always people coming in, exchange students, runaways hanging out with us, living with us for years. And they said, what you're doing in Temecula is on steroids on what you did in South Pasadena. It's the same thing, just bigger. And I hear that and I smile. What do you see as that overlap?
And more purposeful. It's more purposeful. We grew up that was the way it was. That's what you did. That's the way you operated. And, that came again from Rosie and Jerry.
Yeah.
So when we did this, it was just a natural thing for us to continue to do that. And it resonated, with our wine club members that felt like extended family, and we call them extended family. We treat them like extended family. And it was by design, absolutely 100%, but it was by design of who we were.
Yeah.
And we're God's children. You want to get, kind of a little bit of the divine side in there. It was just more, we're kind of Jesus-like, just hi, welcome, love on you.
Yep.
You could have, tattoos all over your face and you killed 3 people. And I'm going to say, hi, I love your shoes, and I'm going to give you a little compliment or something. Now everybody knows my secret, but I want to find the good in everybody that walks through that door. And I want to hug on them. And I want to appreciate them. And when we enhance somebody's life, as I tell people, when you make somebody smile, guess what? You smile.
Yeah.
When you treat them well and they feel it and they reciprocate to it, guess what? You feel well.
And to tweak that divine element a little bit, that the church should be the most inclusive, accepting of all backgrounds, of all ethnicities, where everyone's welcome at the table, breaking barriers, destroying dividing walls. What I've heard over and over from people visiting the winery is we are the most, I don't know if the word diverse, but the amount of people in different ethnicities and backgrounds that are there, that's cool. I don't think that's something we intentionally leaned into. I think maybe you can speak to that, it is just as though everyone who walks in the door, we're going to love on you.
Yeah. Everybody has red blood, right? I don't care the color of your skin. And this is where I think, specifically me, and talking about the divine, to get religious for a second, all the religions, they don't accept each other.
Nope.
They don't like each other. They kind of look down on each other. Ours is better than yours. Yours is better than ours.
The in and the out. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We don't do that here. We're like, hey, Love on you. I don't care if you're green, yellow, red, blue. You know what? As long as you're cool, we love on you.
Yeah,
You know, if you're a dick and you start treating our staff like dicks, or start, mistreating the other people around you, hey, we'll take control, and you're not going to be welcome here.
that's good
Um,
theology. Don't be a dick.
yeah, don't be a dick. Well,
If you,
I've coached my kids, and they so what's dad's favorite saying is like, don't be that girl. Don't be that girl. And,
I see what
don't
you're saying.
be that girl that wanders off by herself. Don't be that girl that gets so drunk that somebody takes advantage of her. Don't be that girl that's just a little geek, geek, geek. Don't be that girl. And everybody knows that girl.
Mhm.
Don't be that. And so it's not just, don't be that person that's just everybody looks at and goes, what a douche.
Now put on your CEO hat for a sec. What are some things that just get you up in the morning and you're just like, so excited about? And at the same time, what are those things that give you nightmares about the business?
Well, it's been money woes from day one is what scares the shit out of me. Um, the lack of it. And that's where the one percenters that don't have the money, everybody else in the wine industry has made millions in the .com or real estate or attorneys or whatever. We mortgaged our homes, we pooled our labor resources, and we just did it. We, as we say, we burned the boats in the bay a long time ago. We have no retreat. We have nothing else. This is all we have. And when it's all you have no choice but to make it the number one and work your ass off to make sure that it succeeds. Now add 200 and some employees to that they're relying on you to feed their families. And that's a huge burden. It's a huge responsibility. So, just that gets me going. But again, I love what I do. I do it for free. And some of our board of directors, made me do it for free for a while. And, it just is what it is.
Well, I could tell you this: we wouldn't obviously be where we are without you. Your entrepreneurial vision, you got awards for that, but you're the one down there making it happen, grinding away, working on the numbers, especially COVID, post COVID. As you know, people drinking is going down a little bit, which affects us. But what causes you, not just financially, but to turn on your pillow and like, oh my God, what are we doing here?
Yeah, what really freaks me out is all the employees and all their little bitching and a little backstabbing and a tit for tats, and I want this, I want that, and the state of California that we live in allows them to do that.
And that's
And
just a few employees. Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, but a few employees, as they say, the rule, as every 10 people, 10 employees, three of them are trying to pull you one direction, three are trying to pull you the other direction, and there are four people in the middle that they're trying to get to be on their side. So you've got that cancer that can just destroy the culture, as you said, and you have to do the tough things. And I'm not very good at that. And either is anybody that's last name is Wilson. So
Yeah, I mean, if there's someone that's not a fit, that doesn't fit our hospitality, it's hard to just say, hey, just not a fit. But
yeah.
overall, what would you say, would people say about our staff in general, other than those that, the toxic ones that we are, you deal with?
Oh,
Yeah.
even some of the toxic ones are some of the most nice ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's just from the consumer standpoint. So we've always had the most hospitable staff around.
100%. Yep.
Constantly is, you've got the nicest staff. They're great. They care. They're passionate. And again, that's by design. And we encourage that, and we hire for that. we hire the twinkle in the eye. I will hire somebody that's more fun to be around than the smartest guy in the room.
And
I
we'll
don't
give
need
them
the
the tools.
smartest guy
Yeah. Hmm.
that will just crank out spreadsheets all day, every day. I need somebody that's going to put some life behind them and put some energy into it and have fun with it, because I'm with these people all day long. So that it is from the ground up, from our landscapers to our C-suites. Everybody along the way is got that, what we've kind of referred to as a hospitality gene. You got to like people to be in this business.
You have to have the it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you don't have the it shows, and it creates consternation. It creates that cancer, so to speak. But yet we have so many people around here, they won't tolerate it. They'll push them away.
Yeah. I'm going to hit you with the speed round real quick here. This will be fun. This is the first speed round ever for Wine in the Divine. I think I know the answer to this. Red, white, or sparkling wine? I know. Favorite grape varietal? Petite Sirah, baby.
Beef Sirah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I think we got to plant more of that in Temecula Valley for those other wineries. That could be our grape. You've been saying that for a while. We've got Italian varietals in the valley. We've got
Well,
French.
we got so many people that think their property is the best property out there, that they think their grape and their wine is the best
That's all
wine
good.
out there, and
Yeah.
they think their Sangiovese should be the grape, or the Syrah, or whatever they've leaned into. So, and seriously, that's what makes Temecula great. We grow a lot of really good varietals, and we grow them well.
And for people who haven't been to Temecula Valley in a couple, 3 years, you'll see the quality of wine has just escalated with the type of farming, with the winemaking. So come
Competition.
in, check it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other question: What region outside of Temecula do you like?
Paso Robles.
Paso. Oh, their cabs are so good. I love Paso.
Yeah.
So good. And do you like when you go up the 101? Do you go east or west or both?
I go up the 5 and cut over the 46.
Oh, that route. So you hit those east wineries, and then
I just
go on.
I just want to get there quickly. I started going to Paso when we started water skiing at Lake Nacimiento.
Oh, yeah, I was there.
And we'd water ski in the morning, and we'd go wine tasting in the afternoon. Then we'd go drunken tubing or boating at night. And that, okay, you're the least amount of drunk person, you drive the boat. So, nowadays that would be very frowned upon, but that was 30 years ago. Right. So,
okay, favorite food and wine pairing?
Food and wine pairing, you know what? That is so delicate. I've had so much great food and wine pairing, but there just is nothing better than a good steak and a good bold. I'm going to stick with my Petite straw, but a big red, whether it's a cab, a big red, the Zin that can stand up to a steak versus a Pinot that's not necessarily going to stand up to a steak.
Yep. What would you say most underrated wine? Are you drinking it right now?
No. I think, one of our most underrated and underappreciated wine is the Mourvedre.
Yep.
It's been, it's a blended wine, and we've made it into a varietal, and it's just finicky. It's very much like the Pinot, which is overrated. The Mourvedre, 1 year will give you a light, another will give you a dark, and it drives the winemakers crazy. But you get a good Mourvedre, and people go, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
What's a Mourvedre? They can't even pronounce it.
Mourvedre.
Yeah.
So more of a question on the divine. You could take this anywhere. What have you learned? Just a couple things from the vineyard, regenerative farming, people, guests, staff, family. What have you learned about God in just sunsets, the vines, the people, the family? What are some things that go, God is good?
Yeah, a little bit of everything in all of that. It's not just one thing. It's the cumulative thing that makes you respect God, and it's just like, my God, no one person, no one human, no one me could possibly create all this. I don't even know if their God could create it. I mean, it's beyond that. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's just amazing when you look out at night and the stars are the crystal clear out here because of the lack of light, so to speak. It's getting a little bit more lit now, but you see the galaxies and you just go, wow. You see the sunset, you go, wow. You see the sunrise, you go, wow. You see the grapes and their whole cycle of life, and you go, wow. And you see the interaction between the grapes and the nature and everything else, and you go, wow. And then we as humans, all we try to do is kind of nudge and push Mother Nature along and just go, wow. Our job is as humans, as winemakers, is not to screw up what Mother Nature intends. We try to maximize what nature is. And the whole regenerative agriculture kick that we've been on for quite a few years, and we're on a bleeding edge, and I'm very excited about, takes that 100% into account. And, you're not going to be the most absolutely pristine mowed and manicured, because that's not a healthy vineyard. Ours is a wild, wild west
Yeah.
out there. And
Messy is better. Yep.
yeah, it's like that took me and you. I know we struggled with that for years, because we'd go out and take pictures. We'd come down and tell our winemaker, what about this? And I mean, the vineyard manager, and they go, no, that's not healthy. And I'm like, yeah, but that's what the consumer thinks,
Yeah.
wants
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, and the whole backstory for those that don't know, regenerative agriculture is more the merrier. You want a lot above the ground to feed the nutrients and the mycorrhizal network or the fungal network under the ground. And what Greg Pennyroyal, our vineyard manager, says is one handful of healthy soil. One time I called it dirt and he corrected me, it's soil. One handful of healthy soil has 7 billion microbes in it. You're like, really? Okay, that'll make some good wine. Right.
Yeah, and the whole thing is the regenerative part of it is, we have stripped out the nutrients from our soil over years.
Oh yeah.
And so we replace it with chemicals, and the chemicals are not binding, they're not forever. They're just they get used and they get abused and then they go away. So you still have an unhealthy soil. So, with animals and everything and how nature's supposed to work with, the herding animals out there that are foraging, and then you've got the predators come through and push them on to another. They would have just stayed there and ripped up their thing if it wasn't for, the wolves and the other predatory animals out there, and they push them into other areas. And we lack that. And so now you see these major wildfires that they blame it on global warming. No, that's not. They're just not allowing the forest to be the forest. And they preserve it and protect it so much that they overprotect it. So anyway, let's not get political on that. But,
Yeah.
But it's God's way of making sure that everything's in balance.
That's it.
And when we step in as humans and think we're holier than thou and godlike, and we do it this way, we upset that delicate balance in nature, and that's what we're dealing with now. And stripping the rainforest and stripping all that, and we just have to start putting it back into balance.
Yep. And good soil absorbs carbon, stores it.
But it's not going to be through electric vehicles. That's not what it's going to be.
It's through bringing back good soil, and that's gets carbon out of the atmosphere. And and for those listening, a couple of good movies. One is called Kiss the Ground, narrated by Woody Harrelson. Another one called Common Ground, narrated by Aquaman, Jason Momoa. And then another one called The Biggest Little Farm, which is cool if you're interested in regen. So back on the family real quick is, what would you say right now, describe your grandpa. How has that affected your priorities and what has that meant to you?
Well, let's go back to one of the first reasons why we even started this is my own children I moved out here when we had a 3.5 and an 18-month-old. And people would call me and say, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm watching my baby sleep." They said, "No, no, no, really, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm watching my baby sleep."
Cheers to that.
Because I was leaving, to go to the office at 5:30 in the morning, traveling an hour and a half, working 8 to 10 hours a day, sometimes more, driving an hour and a half back, sometimes spending the night up in Pasadena, which was a treat that I didn't have to drive 3 hours. And I'm like, this is no life. I don't care how successful financially you are, which I wasn't, but it just wasn't who I was. And so it started there. It really did. That was what was implement. And our kids knew exactly where I was. I was working, 14, 16 hours a day, but they knew I was right there. And they came down and visited, and there's nothing better than getting one of your little kids to grab you behind the counter as you're serving somebody a Cabernet and, "Hi, Daddy." And they mimic how we slurp wine, but they do it with milk. And, it's all about that. And it's all about the family. It to see my daughters grow of age and specifically Cassidy, who's like, "Yes, I want to be part of this. I want to take us to the next level. This is what I want." And then, my other daughter says, "You know what? I just want to make the best pastries for the winery I can. I want to sell them to 5 different wineries. I want to be the best mom I can." But Brock, her husband, wants to be the tasting room manager, and he wants to run this thing. He wants to be the ops guy eventually, but, they're chomping at the bit. He's 30 years old. He's got some maturity to do. But the lure of Wilson Creek, you get a lot of these financial guys that says, "Oh, hey, if you ever want to sell," I get them all day long. "Hey, the valuation of your company, you want to sell, blah, blah, blah. What's your exit strategy?" And I used to say, "See that loving couple over there with the 2 dogs at their feet and they're opening their mail? Yeah, they're sitting there watching their kids work their ass off to make sure that nothing they get is nothing but positive comments."
Mm-hmm.
That's my job. That's my job. What's your job description? Make sure they get nothing but positive comments so that they can live out their 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And
Rosie and Jerry. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I go, I want that. I want to sit there, have wonderful lunch, sometimes dinner. I do. And I get to look and see the kids running around there working their little tail off. And I love that.
So what are you saying no to more and living more of like a focus, let's say, and what would you say you're leaning into that brings you more joy?
I'm saying no to more outside meetings. I'm on all these boards and all these committees that pay me nothing. And, one of my goals back in the in the 2010, when I did get the rewards and all that for Citizen of the Year, was I want to put Temecula on the map. I want to make sure that, the wine country map didn't stop at Santa Barbara, that it kept going. And worked with some great groups of people to make that happen. But from there, you get some others and some others, and all of a sudden, everybody will want something for you. So I'm guarding my time a little bit more. I'm trying to get out of here a little bit more. I'm trying not to just live, breathe, and die Wilson Creek. Wherever I go, I am a poster board, and by all means, if you see me outside of here, please say hi. I love it, and I live for that. But I'm always be marketing. I always will have Wilson Creek on something somewhere. Much to my wife hates it, but she gets it.
Oh my gosh, I'm at the pipe store today getting sprinkler fitting. As I walk in the door, and 2 guys go, "Hey, Bill." It's like, I'm his brother, but you're out there in the community. And
yeah, and it's kind of funny. We look more and more alike as we get older,
right?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's like people are saying, "Hey, Mick, how you doing?" Da da da. I saw you speak the other day. I'm like, "Yeah, no, how's my brother?" So, which is pretty cool that we have this this mutual love for each other and mutual respect. And I love what you're doing in the, community out there. And as you know, I've encouraged you to write this book, and I've encouraged you to do this because that gives
back
you a
up. Write
platform.
this. How did you phrase it? Write the what book?
Write your fucking book. Get it done, because that'll give you a platform that nobody else has.
I'm at rough draft version right now, which is good. So it's in editor's hands, and I feel pretty good about that. Yeah.
I'm excited for you, and I'm excited for Wilson Creek because it's going to get you to get it out there on the speaker circuit. And then, that'll free me up to write my book to then get me out on the speaker circuit as I continue to let my daughter and others run the company, and I just continue to guide it from above, so to speak.
So what would you want the bill 25 years ago, 20 years ago, we're opening or we're starting? What would you say to that bill?
Back then?
Yeah. Knowing what you know now, you would go back. What would you say? Hey, self.
Hey, self, don't try to do it all yourself. You're killing yourself. Get other people involved. And if they don't, be a little bit more of an asshole about it and get them involved. So it would be, this self is to have others, but in an entrepreneurial position, you got to run. You don't have money to go pay somebody else to do something. Right. You don't have that option. So you got to do it all. But I did way too much. I tried, and it got beyond me, and I probably fucked up more than some of it. But through it all, again, nobody was going to say that this was just handed to us.
Yeah.
We worked our butt for it.
Well, back in the day, I mean, you're running, but Jennifer is running the tasting room. Jerry's at the cash register doing tours. I'm doing landscaping, mowing, and then working on labels and doing tours. Deanna's involved in distribution. Craig and Libby's HR. Craig's out there. It was everyone just all hands on deck. You were the captain, but people just look at this and go, wow, you guys are just sitting around. You go, whoa. I wish you can go back and see what it took, but that's what
they go, guy, you're going on a lot of vacations. Yeah. Because for 17 years, I didn't go on one, or one to Lake Powell, and that was about it. But now, they're like, you can't coach on the weekends. You can only observe, coach Monday through Friday. That was David Chavez. Got to tip my hat to him.
Yeah, he was a consultant.
Yeah, can't coach in the whirlwind. You got to coach when it's calm, and you got to let your team make some decisions. And you can't be here because they'll think differently. Did you know that there's a call sign when I walk on property?
I've heard about that. Yeah. It's a little thing the staff say amongst themselves that you're on.
They put it into the radio.
Yeah.
That means
it's
Bill's
like
on
officer
property.
on deck, but it's a code that the staff knows when Bill's around.
I'm like, what? I just found this out a couple of weeks ago. I'm like, that's bullshit.
Well, with our old,
but yet, hey, that's smart from them. Hey, look busy, right?
With our old vineyard crew, when you and I would walk in the vines, there was a certain whistle that they would do, like heads up, owners here.
Yeah.
So, a quick question here for those in a family business. What would you encourage them? What you've learned? I mean, there's pros and cons, but how would you encourage someone that's in that right now?
Highly, highly recommend it, but you got to put guardrails on it. Best thing you can do is hire a family business coach. That gives everybody, and he's almost a referee, so to speak. And
mediator. Yeah.
Mediator. He hears both sides. You can open up to them if they're good. And they go, I kind of hear what you're saying, but in, the business, we used to operate that, as family first. And you were the one that did the rally cry of, it's business first. And if we take care of the business, it'll take care of the family. And that's what you have to keep, at the forefront. We got to take care of the business, and it'll take care of the family.
Yep.
And so you're really business first.
I love it. Bring in a consultant. If that consultant's not a fit, find another one. They're out there,
Yeah.
but it's worth.
Well, we've had
Yeah.
our generations of consultants that meet you where you're at, you know, and our first consultants were other wineries down the road telling us what we should do and not do.
Yeah, they were great.
And then the family business consultant, then the financial business consultant, then the executive team business consultant, then the whole COVID crazy consultant, and then their bankers and everything else that they put the framework so we could get through COVID.
And for those in the family business, it's tough. Our family, every person, the kids, we have big personalities, and your family can survive if you visit each other twice a year. But when you're working daily, some of those sparks fly. So we don't have people that just are laying down and let people running over them. There are some sparks, but we work through that. And I think that's what actually made us better.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. I always said, I still say to this day, I'm like that thoroughbred racehorse that just wants to go, and you're that jockey that
like, whoa,
are we going? Hang on. You're that jockey that holds on, and then all of a sudden says, go, go. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
well, shit.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
I like that analogy. That's good.
Yeah, it's a really, really good analogy, because I just want to run and go, and you're like, well, let's put some framework around it. Let's get some ROI to it. And then, well, why haven't you done it yet? Let's go. We talked about, let's go. And I'm like, well, wait a minute.
But without the horse, there's no go, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you can just sit here and live off your laurels, but you're going to die. If you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not reinventing yourself, you're not, my current, chairman of the board and CEO mentor is agility. You got to change with the time. What worked 6 months ago is not going to work today. What worked
Richardson.
10 years ago is not going to work today. And he's all about this whole AI thing. I mean, we didn't have this podcast ability 5 years ago, 10 years ago, really, without spending extreme amounts of money.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's time of the times, and you got to change with it.
Last question for you is, what do you want down the road? Maybe last question down the road. Let's say 25 years.
We could do this for hours and hours, and probably should.
I like the wine, but it's usually a beer.
We should just
too.
do it just for the family videos, for heaven's sake.
We're going to do part 2 for sure. What would you want 25 years from now? We're 25th anniversary. We're looking 25 years for just the family, the dynamic, maybe the impact that we've left or are leaving. What do you hope would be the takeaway?
Yeah, I think about that a lot. What's your legacy? And, Jerry and Rosie have left a legacy for us to cultivate. And I always say, I want to be Jerry 2.0. And, for those that don't know Jerry, I feel sad for them. And a lot of our executive team, a lot of our management team has never met Jerry. And if you've met him, you'll know what I'm talking about is I want to be Jerry 2.0.
Yeah, amazing.
I don't want to be, he's an amazing man. And I don't know if I'll live up to it, but at least trying to be more Jerry-like and more Jesus-like type of a person is something. And then 25 years from now, if we look back and just go, wow, 50 years and who knows what the next 25 is going to bring. I know I at one point wanted to own wineries across the United States and up and down. And one incident in my life changed that thought process to, I just want to have the best winery possible and work with the friends and family and the best people I can and appreciate and enjoy life the best I can, because it might get taken away from you. Like that, health and otherwise, the deal. So yeah, I hope I'm around in 25 years to see it, because I'll be 89 and a half. Jerry passed away at 90 and a half. So I think I can get there.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
And you know, one of Jerry's sayings, and I repeat this often, is life is not like a box of chocolates. It's more like a roll of toilet paper. Because the first part of the year, it took forever for Christmas to come around. And as you got older, it get faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And he's like, when you're my age,
I could really,
you know, it's the closer you are to the end, every sheet matters.
Yep.
And COVID hit home on that when everybody was like, and every sheet matters.
Oh,
so
that's a name for an article
life,
or a book. Every sheet matters.
Every sheet matters.
I don't give a sheet is another.
Every sheet matters. So, yeah, you know, I hope I will touch people's lives in such a way that they'll remember me forever, because that's what they did with Jerry. I don't want to leave a building. A building isn't it. It's the culture. It's the
people.
It's the people. Yeah. And how you touch those people and how you've enhanced those people's lives and created opportunities for them, you know, whether it's temporary or whether it's a lifelong journey through wine. You know, come aboard. Let's go.
Well said. Hey, cheers, bro.
Yeah, back at you, brother.
All right, man. Hey, love you. Thanks for sharing. Cheers.
Cheers, bro.
Thanks for listening to Wine and the Divine. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and share it with someone who would appreciate the conversation. Join Mick Wilson next time as he continues exploring the intersection of faith, wine, and life.